Long ago, in a vast and prosperous kingdom, there lived a mighty king who ruled wisely and was known for his wealth and grandeur. This king had 12 beautiful daughters, each more stunning than the last. The princesses all shared one grand room in the castle, filled with luxurious furniture, soft beds, and wardrobes brimming with the finest gowns and shoes. Each night, the king ensured their door was locked from the outside, as he was highly protective of them. But something strange was happening. Every morning, when the servants came to wake the princesses, they found their shoes completely worn out, as if the girls had been dancing all night. The leather soles were tattered, and some shoes even had holes. This baffled the king. How could the shoes be so ruined when the princesses hadn't left the room? No one could explain it. The mystery grew as days turned into weeks, and the king became desperate to uncover the truth. Determined to solve this riddle, the king made a bold proclamation throughout his kingdom and beyond. He announced that anyone who could uncover the secret of his daughter's worn-out shoes would be rewarded richly. Not only would they marry one of the princesses, but they would also inherit the throne after the king's reign. However, there was a catch. The person had only 3 nights to solve the mystery. If they failed, they would be executed. The king's decree spread far and wide, attracting many hopeful suitors and adventurers. The first to arrive was a young and confident prince. The king greeted him warmly and explained the rules. That night, the prince was given a room next to the princess's chamber. His door was left open so he could observe the princesses. The prince was determined to stay awake and catch them in the act. However, shortly after the princesses retired to their room, the prince felt overwhelmingly drowsy. Little did he know, the oldest princess had slipped a sleeping potion into his wine during dinner. He fell into a deep sleep and awoke the next morning to find the princess's shoes in the same ruined state. He had no idea what had happened. The second and third nights were no different. Each time the prince fell asleep, unable to stay awake. On the third morning, he admitted his failure and was executed as per the king's decree. More suitors arrived, each more determined than the last, but none could resist the potion or uncover the secret. The princess's nightly activities remained a mystery, and the pile of worn-out shoes grew. Far away from the castle, an old soldier roamed the land. He was a brave man who had fought in many battles, but age and injuries had forced him to retire. With no home or family, he wandered aimlessly, looking for purpose. One day, as he walked through a dense forest, he encountered an old woman. She had a kind face and seemed wise beyond her years. "Where are you heading, good soldier?" the old woman asked. "I don't know," the soldier replied honestly. "I've served my country, but now I have nowhere to go. I've heard of the king's challenge and thought perhaps I could try my luck. If I succeed, I might find a new purpose." The old woman smiled knowingly. "The task is dangerous, but I can help you. Listen carefully. When you reach the castle, the princesses will offer you wine. Do not drink it. Pretend to fall asleep instead. Here, take this magical cloak. When you wear it, you will become invisible. Use it to follow the princesses without being seen." The soldier thanked the old woman, taking the cloak with gratitude. He felt a renewed sense of hope and headed straight to the castle. When he arrived, the king welcomed him and explained the rules. The soldier was given royal clothing and a room next to the princesses. That evening, the oldest princess brought him a goblet of wine. Remembering the old woman's advice, the soldier pretended to drink it but secretly poured it out. Then he lay on the bed and began to snore loudly, fooling the princesses into thinking he was asleep. Hearing his snores, the princesses laughed. "This old man won't last long," said the eldest. "He'll meet the same fate as the others." The princesses, dressed in their finest gowns, each choosing a pair of delicate shoes. The youngest hesitated. "I feel uneasy," she said softly. "Something doesn't feel right tonight." "Don't be silly, Edie," replied the oldest. "You always worry too much." Once they were ready, the oldest princess clapped her hands. Her bed sank into the floor, revealing a hidden staircase. The soldier, wearing the invisible cloak, followed them silently. The staircase led to a magical forest. The trees had silver leaves that shimmered in the moonlight. The soldier, amazed by the sight, broke a branch as evidence. The youngest princess heard the noise and stopped. "Did you hear that? Someone's following us," she whispered. "Nonsense," said the oldest. "It's just the wind." They continued walking and entered another forest, where the leaves were made of gold. Again, the soldier broke a branch. The youngest princess grew more nervous, but her sisters dismissed her fears. Finally, they reached a forest with diamond leaves. The soldier took another branch, marveling at its beauty. After the forests, they came to a vast lake. 12 handsome princes waited there with boats, each princess paired with a prince, and stepped into a boat. The soldier climbed into the youngest princess's boat, making it heavier. "This boat feels strange," said the prince, rowing it. "It's slower than usual." "Don't complain," said the oldest princess from another boat. "Just row." They crossed the lake and reached a grand castle, lit with thousands of candles. Inside, a ball was in full swing. The soldier watched as the princesses danced joyfully with their princes. He even managed to take a golden cup from the castle as proof. The dancing continued until their shoes were completely worn out. Then, the princes rowed them back across the lake. The soldier followed the princesses back to the castle and slipped into his bed, pretending to snore. The princesses believed they were safe and went to sleep. This routine repeated for 2 more nights. On the 3rd night, the soldier collected enough evidence to reveal the truth. On the 4th morning, the king summoned the soldier. "Have you discovered where my daughters go at night?" he asked. "Yes, Your Majesty," the soldier replied confidently. "They visit an underground castle where they dance with 12 princes. I have proof." He showed the king the silver, gold, and diamond branches, as well as the golden cup. The king called his daughters, who confessed the truth. He turned to the soldier and said, "You have succeeded where so many have failed. Which of my daughters will you marry?" "I am not young," the soldier replied. "I will marry the oldest." The wedding was held that very day. Shortly after, the king passed away, and the soldier became the new ruler. He ruled wisely and justly, and the mystery of the dancing princesses was never forgotten.